speaking with Kris Haas. She's the founder of Botanica Boutique. Kris, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me, Christina.
Of course, my pleasure. Always love promoting women in the industry, entrepreneurs like yourself. It really does take a community to grow the industry, and that community is made up of people just like you and me.
Yeah, very true.
I'd love to learn how, I usually like to start our interviews off with, do you remember the first time you smoked cannabis? What was that like?
So the first time I ever smoked weed, I was probably like 14. And, it was back then, it was like, who can you get it from? And we didn't know about strains. It was just like, this is what so-and-so's brother has, so this is what we're smoking today. And, I had a couple of sketchy experiences with it for sure, but I had enough good experiences that I knew that like I found something that made me feel good. And I liked it better than alcohol at the time, which is probably great for like a teenager, I think, anyway. So I didn't, get into like hard partying with that. I was just kind of like the kid who was, smoking a joint and just trying to chill out. So I definitely started early, and my mom is, she wasn't like a total hippie, but I couldn't roll a joint. And I remember being like 18 and being like, the jig is up. Like, I smoke weed. Can you roll me a joint? Because she was really good at it. And her being like, fine, and sort of teaching me to roll them and stuff like that. So I have fond memories associated with cannabis for sure.
She wasn't a regular mom. She's cool.
She was a cool mom, and she still is.
I was literally having a flashback to that scene in Mean Girls, and she's like, is there alcohol in this? And she's like, oh gosh, no. Why do you want some? Because I got some.
Yeah, like that would have been my mom, but like not really with alcohol, definitely with cannabis. And like, to be honest, even now she tries like every single product that I get in, and she has like a drawer filled with all kinds of CBD and weed products too, because I give her those. She recently like applied for her medical card, so, and she accidentally actually once I gave her like CBD gummies and cannabis like THC gummies, and she accidentally thought she was taking CBD and took one with like THC in it. And I got a text at like midnight, and she was like, what is up with this CBD gummy? I feel like really weird. And then the next day, like we found out that she had seen cats running around her house, and she was laughing at the TV, people on the TV and stuff. And we found out that she was accidentally like, dosed. Luckily, she didn't have that experience. It was just sort of like, I feel really good, but like weird. What is this? What is this new CBD? And I was just like, girl, that's not CBD. You just like ate an edible, and you had, it seems like a pretty good high for the whole rest of the evening. And she said she slept really well. So
probably the best night's sleep she'd gotten in a long time.
Exactly. She was like, I said, next time, you have to like microdose it, like you cut it up. She ate like a whole 50 milligram, edible. And I was like, yeah, next time let's try that, just a little less.
What recommendation would you actually give for people that may take too much or accidentally take THC when they mean to take CBD?
And I don't know if this is like 100% true, but I know for me, if I take some CBD, I always feel better. Like I actually, whenever I take any form of THC now, whether it's an edible or if I'm just smoking a joint or if I'm, using my PAX vape thing or whatever, I always take some form of CBD, and I swear it really levels my high out. I just feel more productive, less like of that couch lock feeling. So I feel like water is our best friend when it comes to these things. Probably eating something, and definitely for sure some CBD in some form.
Mm-hmm. And so how did you get the idea to start Botanica Boutique? Like, where did that really come from?
I was kind of going through, after I turned 40, I was going through this kind of thing where, I was teaching, and I loved teaching middle school, but things were changing in my district, and I wasn't as happy as I used to be at my job. And it was really stressful. And, then the pandemic hit and teaching became, impossible, really. And for all the people that stuck it out, all those teachers, like, I really commend them. And I have the utmost respect, because I had to throw the towel in. Like, I couldn't do it anymore. COVID made teaching scary, and it made it feel like life threatening. Actually, it made it life threatening. Especially the district that I was working in was, in 5 days a week with all the kids. So it felt really scary. And COVID brought out a lot of my anxiety that I've struggled with my entire life, and it just kind of amplified it. And I really struggled for a while, and until I found, that cannabis and CBD really, really helped me to relax, to kind of be able to take a moment. And it also gave me this, like, the motto for the Botanica Boutique is self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. And I feel like that kind of came from this need to take some time for myself, and take like a mom timeout, or like a grown-up timeout. And I used cannabis in that space to help me, with my yoga practice, and I got back into that. Even like going for walks. I mean, going for a walk is amazing, but going for a walk with a little bit of cannabis is way better, So like just doing that and like walking around my neighborhood actually really like helped my brain to focus on things that would help me feel better instead of all the negativity. So the idea for this kind of came out of that. I just started talking about, my struggles with anxiety, and then eventually depression during the pandemic, and how much this plant helped me. And I wanted to kind of bring that to other people, because I was noticing that every other, especially like every other woman I talked to was struggling with almost the exact same things that I was struggling with. So I would kind of, wind up talking to somebody, texting, or having like a 6 foot away conversation while I was walking the dog, and everybody was struggling. And I was just like telling everybody, well, this helps. This is no joke. Like, this really helps you. So all of a sudden, I don't know, it came out of the blue one day. I just had this epiphany, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to help them find a product or something cannabis related that will help them. And that's how I kind of got my start here. I just started doing it out of my house. I built my website. My wonderful friend, Jed Flancha, helped me with my design, and he really believed in my business, and takes the products as well. And, we kind of, I came up with, the general idea and the core values for my brand and company. And it's just kind of taken off and been growing nicely.
Excellent. Like a plant, you are growing with the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned a few, therapeutic aspects of using cannabis and CBD on walks. It helps with mental clarity. What are some of the other benefits that consumers can get from cannabis or CBD that they may not even be aware of?
So, I mean, I think that people, I think sometimes that, the CBD industry, there's a lot of products out there, and it's really overwhelming. And even my website, like, some people have said, like, you have a lot of products in there. So I've worked kind of like, I like to work one-on-one with people to kind of find out what ails them and what products I have that could help. And I think the number one thing that people or women around my age-ish ask for is help sleeping. It's one of the top issues, I would say, that I found that everybody needs a little bit of help with, whether it's severe or it's sometimes. I think everybody needs a little help sleeping. My husband is my guinea pig for all of my sleep products because he has trouble sleeping. So we've gotten him on a cocktail of things that really help. So I would say, a lot of people probably don't know that CBD can really help you sleep. And so can, THC products as well, those mixed or even better. But anything with CBD that has like CBN added to it, even Delta 8 now, that's really, really good for helping people sleep. Another thing that women come to me for a lot are PMS symptoms, menstrual symptoms, and even now perimenopause, which is like this word that I only recently learned and I already resent it. It's this like 10-year period before you go through menopause. And so a lot of women in their 40s are like going and getting into their 40s and like, you know, why don't I feel good? Why do I have brain fog? Why am I fatigued? Why do I feel irritable? You know, why do I feel like I have PMS all the time? And it's, you know, this sort of blanket term that they give it, it's called perimenopause. And it's just like yet another thing that, you know, women have to kind of deal with and go through. And CBD has helped me and some other people I know so much with that. Especially products like I carry Chula, XULA, and their products are specifically made for women. They use other botanicals and things like that in them to help with kind of your whole body. And it really helps like kind of like level out your hormones. It helps with brain fog. It really helps with brain fog. I have that a lot, and it really helps me with that. I have some other gummies and things like that. It really does kind of help me focus better. It can help with sleep. It can help with cramps. It can help with, you know, there's even topical things that I have that I've discovered for my tension headaches I was getting all the time. I just kind of rub, you know, some lotion on my neck and shoulders, and it's like magic. It really is. It's really been life-changing for me. So that's why I want to bring it, you know, to others.
I've got that brain fog too. So
Up with that brain fog.
yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with age. I think it's just especially now after COVID, you know, they say that the brain fog was a part of it. I myself had
Yes.
COVID at one point.
Did
So
you?
I did last year when it broke out. I mean, living in New York, it was hard to avoid. I'll say that. So
Yeah. The brain fog, I read something in the Times like a couple of months ago about how just this moment in time, you know, the pandemic and everything has kind of given people issues with things like brain fog and brain processing and things like that.
it's probably because we're not stimulating ourselves enough. We're at home, we're sitting. I mean, I was, you know, saying I've never sat more in my life than in this last year and a half.
I know it's terrible. I know. I try to remind myself, like, you know, you're lucky that you're working from home and, you know, you're not like tied to a classroom. Go for a walk. You know, I try to like, but it's hard because, you know, you got to get stuff done and, you know.
What kind of stigmas have you experienced in the time you've been in the cannabis industry? Any sort of pushback, whether it's from the industry or from the outside of the industry?
So, I mean, I've experienced it in a number of different ways. I definitely see that, you know, the negative stigma and connotations surrounding the cannabis plant. I knew about them ahead of time because, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm in New Jersey and we just legalized recreational, you know, adult use marijuana recently. So it's becoming more like people are sort of coming out of their houses, like, can I do this out in public? But before that, I feel like it was like really like a you know, a bottom shelf, put it in a brown paper bag sort of thing that people were hiding. And I just like, you know, I always think, well, why is that? Because people are very open with their alcohol consumption. And it's so not, you know, as big of a deal as alcohol to me, you know. So the effects are, and I love, you know, don't get me wrong, I like to drink sometimes, you know, but like, so I think it's this old stigma, this racial stigma that, you know, came about in the turn of the 20th century when, you know, people from Mexico were coming into the country as immigrants and using cannabis recreationally. And I think, you know, our society had like a knee-jerk reaction to that. And unfortunately, like even the word, I was reading about this, even the word marijuana was something that was used amongst the immigrant people, you know, as a term for this. And it became like vilified by our government. And then we have like in the 1930s, like the whole reefer madness thing, which is, if you watch that now, it's so insane. But like, that's what's out there. That's what's in our, you know, collective consciousness as far as, you know, well, what is cannabis? I mean, I feel like a lot of people, especially, you know, like my parents' age and, you know, grandparents and even people that are just a little bit older than me, I feel like had these negative connotations that it's like bad and makes you do bad things. And, you know, I think even for me, the biggest pushback that I have had has been with the banking industry. My getting payment processing, which should be the easiest thing in the world, so I thought, has proved to be a real challenge. And, you know, it almost shut my business down. I finally did get payment processing, but it took so long to find a bank that, you know, just was easier to deal with. One bank I was dealing with wanted me to take 70% of my products off my website, which, you know, for me was a big no, because that's so much of what I offer to people. And I don't really know why they didn't give me a concrete answer. Another, you know, bank wanted me to take down everything edible. That's like, again, the oils go in your mouth. So, I mean, I don't know if they consider those edible, but, you know, you put them under your tongue, so they go in your mouth. We have gummies and, you know, chocolate and all the different edible things I have. And I finally did find a bank, and I did have to take some stuff down, but it wasn't as much as, you know, with the other ones. But I have to tell you, you know, and you know this, like compared to running, like, you know, if you had a bakery or something like that, the fees are probably double or more. So you pay through the nose for the payment processing itself, plus all the fees associated with that. I mean, I've been looking at and doing the math with that, and it's intense. You know, it's a lot of money, especially for a small business. I think they treat you like they put you in a high risk category. And when I saw what that category included, it included things like, you know, the sale of weapons, which cannabis shouldn't even be in that category at all. You know, as you know, like we're just trying to help people. We want to make people feel better. That's nowhere near, you know, selling guns, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be high risk. It's not a high risk business.
Absolutely. And I saw something floating around the internet last week that was talking about what we are allowed to do, like possession of semi-automatic rifles and, you know, being able to purchase as much alcohol as we want, but yet have a joint in certain states and you are seeing time behind bars. And it truly is ludicrous. And it takes entrepreneurs and businesses like ours and everyone else in the industry to help right the wrong from the war on drugs. And that's something that we are all actively working to combat right now. And so what are some of the core values of Botanica Boutique?
I would like to make a difference in just like the narrative and dialogue around cannabis in general, however I can. I love organizations like the Last Prisoner Project and things like that, because there are so many people behind bars because of this plant that's, you know, nowhere near even what alcohol does, you know. So it's incredibly frustrating. And, you know, I really hope that we're entering this sort of like golden age of cannabis now, and that hopefully federal legalization, I really hope, is around the corner. You know, I don't have my hopes up with too high, but you know, I think that would change a lot. It would, you know, as you know, we've discussed before, like people's lives have been ruined because of these antiquated laws surrounding cannabis. So, you know, definitely, as far as the core values, I was kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I make the commitment to the people that I work with and my clients that I am going to bring them the highest quality CBD products out there. And the companies that I like to work with that supply the products, I always look for small businesses. So something that, even one that started small, that's a little bit bigger, like family-owned farms, socially responsible businesses. Some of the businesses that I use, like say Bloom Farms, they have a one-to-one initiative, and they will give, for everything you buy, they buy a meal for someone who needs it. So they are always, donating to food pantries, food banks, and people in need and things like that. These Delta-8 gummies that I have by Reform Wellness, I love Reform Wellness. They're an offshoot of the company Highline Wellness, who are also socially responsible and New York based. And Reform Wellness donates 10% of all their proceeds to the Last Prisoner Project. So companies like that, women-run companies, companies run by people of color, those are the companies that are making these really interesting products, products that are obviously lab tested. And I also vet all the products myself. There's definitely been times where I'm all on board with a company because, it's run by women and it sounds amazing. And then I try the products and I'm like, no, sorry. And I have to be really, I can't think of the word, sorry. My brain fog.
You have to be truthful and honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And if it's not working for you, chances are it's not going to work for someone else, for one reason or another, whether, maybe the test results were off or, the product caused some sort of, skin irritation or something like that. And it's always important to put ourselves in the shoes of our customers and our clients to make sure that their experience is as positive as we know it can be.
Exactly. And I never want to give somebody something that I don't 100% back. You know what I mean? So that's like a commitment. That's one of the values that I have for the Botanica Boutique. I also, one of the other things that I think has become like a cornerstone, and I didn't initially intend it to, so I want to work one-on-one with people. Like, I don't want to just be, if people prefer to go on the website and have it be easy and discreet, that's fine. But, I encourage people to reach out to me. I like to have conversations with people. I do some outdoor markets sometimes, and it's awesome because I get to really interact with people and talk to them, see their faces, or at least part of their faces for a while. I kind of find out, well, what are their questions? What are their hesitations? Because people have, so many questions about CBD and cannabis products, and some people have a lot of hesitations around it. And I've had multiple clients come to me with hesitations and, wind up really loving the products and finding something that works really well for them.
Tell us what it's like, a day in the life of your shoes. How do you start from the beginning to the end of the day?
Each day is like really different, which I actually really like. So that's like a new change for me. And unexpected things happen on certain days. Some days I'm just really working on the website. Some days I have calls with vendors and, kind of trying to find the perfect products for the company and for my clients. Some days I have an outdoor market and I'm working one-on-one with people. So it's so all over the place. I'm always the thing that, one of the things I love is that I'm home for my 10-year-old, and he knows when I'm working, but I can also then, stop what I'm doing and go help him when he needs it. I'm actually working on a new idea right now that I think is going to be really fun. It's sort of like a Tupperware party reimagined with CBD. And I have like so many people interested already wanting to have a garden party with their friends, and have somebody come and kind of have me come and, speak about CBD and cannabis and what it is and what the benefits are. Try some products. I'm working with a baker who makes amazing brownies. And so we've been doing CBD infused brownies and things like that. So definitely anything is possible. And that's, I don't know, every day is different. It's amazing.
That's awesome. I love that. And I think that's one great unique aspect of the cannabis industry is that every day is different. We're all entrepreneurs in this industry. It's very exciting. It's like we're a fresh canvas and we're being painted on as
I love that.
As we're going along. Absolutely. So for those that are watching now and they want to shop with you, or maybe they want to visit you if they're in New Jersey or New York, how can they find you?
And they could find me on the website at www.thebotanicaboutique.com. So you could browse products there according to your taste and needs, depending on what you're looking for. I deliver for free locally around me, but I also ship anywhere in the US. And my shipping is like a flat rate, and over $65 it's free. You can also just reach out to me via the Contact Us page on my website, because I absolutely, like I said, love working with people one-on-one. Or you could just email me at Kris, Kris, at thebotanicaboutique.com if you have any questions, or you want to chat about cannabis or CBD, or if you want to, even just ask me a question or say, hey. I love talking to new people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was great. And anyone out there watching that wants to get a hold of her, please do. I'm sure she would love to help you with your CBD questions.